Are you ready to boost your confidence when selling so you're able to close more deals? Nikki Roush will show you how to build a foundation of skills and a mindset that creates sales success without feeling pushy or salesy and without fear of rejection. She is a sales strategist and coach with more than 25 years of sales experience and is master certified in neuro-linguistic programming. This is a radically different approach to selling. It's a no sleaze, no slime, and no stress approach to building your business. This is Sales Maven. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush, your own personal sales maven, here to offer you tips, techniques, and strategies to master your own sales conversations. Today's episode is a sales success story with my friend and longtime Sales Maven Society member, Rocio Baeza. Welcome, my friend. So happy to have you here.
Hey, Nikki. So excited to be here. This is going to be fun.
It is going to be fun. I'm so excited for people to learn about you, and specifically the topic that we're going to focus on today is all around prospecting and the success that you are finding in your own prospecting. So I want to share a little bit about that. But before we do, first tell the listeners who you are and a little bit about your business, because you're so interesting and you have such a unique business.
Sure. So first, just want to say thank you, Nikki. Thank you for the invitation. I'm really looking forward to the conversation. So a little bit about me. So I'm the founder and CEO of CyberSecurityBase. We are a Chicago-based data security and data privacy consultancy. And what we do is we work with chief compliance officers and general counsel of online lenders that are partnering with these established banks and need to demonstrate that they are complying to their information security requirements. And we do that by providing professional services, with the two core being virtual chief information security officer services. And if the client needs more specific help, say they need to comply with a specific law, regulation, or standard, then we might work in the form of a gap assessment or an assessment.
So all this cybersecurity, everything that so many, I think, of us, I know as an entrepreneur, I know you're working with bigger companies. Like, I don't have a chief security officer yet in my business, right? Any tip or anything that you might give? I know I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, but now after hearing you share a little bit this, but for the entrepreneur listening, what do you think is one thing that we should know about our own security and cybersecurity specifically?
Sure. So cybersecurity is a very broad field. The area that I'm very passionate about is the consumer side. Mm-hmm. So there can be as part of the cybersecurity umbrella, a company might be motivated to invest in security because they want to protect their crown jewels and they don't want anyone from the outside to break in and have access to intellectual property. My passion is on the consumer side of things, where an organization has lots and lots of data about their customers, it's personal information about their customers. And if it falls in the wrong hands, it can really impact a person. It can be as simple as causing an inconvenience where you now have to call your bank and ask for a new credit card to be issued if your number was compromised. On the other end of the spectrum, and this happened to a family member of mine, someone stole his identity, committed a crime under his name. He traveled back from a trip from Cancun with his wife. He was escorted by federal agents that were there to serve up an arrest warrant, and for a crime that he didn't commit. So someone took his personal information, committed a crime, and he was very close to going to prison for something that he didn't do. So that scares me. It scares me for myself, my husband, my kids.
Yeah.
And to circle back to your question, I think it's important that the entrepreneur understands what information about people they hold, the risk that may come with having access to that information and just taking a very serious stance on protecting that, especially if it can bring harm or really impact the quality of life of their customer.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so much to think about when it comes to that. And thank goodness there are people like you out there doing what you do to keep our information safe and out of the hands of people who have malicious intent with it. So love what you're doing. So let's dig in a little bit, because you are selling B2B, you're selling to businesses. And one of the things, you and I have worked together for quite some time. And one of the things that has been a focus for you, at least in our work, the work you and I have done together in the last year or so, is all around prospecting. And I feel like you have really embraced something that many people, when you talk about sales and prospecting, is like that's not something I want to do. But you have really embraced it and you're having a lot of success doing it. So let's talk about first, how did you feel about prospecting before you and I started working together? Were you doing it? What was your impression around prospecting? Was it successful? Just tell us, how was it for you?
Sure. So to give some context, so I've only been in business for 2.5 years, so I still feel really new after this, right?
I'm so surprised it's only been 2.5 years.
It's been 2.5 years, and I feel like with your help, Nikki, I skipped so many stumbles, and I'm on this trajectory. The company is in this trajectory, and we're just so excited. We're so excited. To answer your question about prospecting and how was it before we started work together, I was struggling with this a lot. I wasn't doing it right. I didn't know what to say and how to say it, and the importance of focusing my time on having conversations with people as opposed to things like marketing and all the other busy things that may come with running a business, because I felt comfortable with posting something on LinkedIn, but I wasn't as comfortable having a conversation with a prospect and knowing what to say and how to say it and all that. So I was struggling a lot, stumbling a lot, and I wasn't doing it right for a while.
And yeah, I feel like you have really made this a part of your weekly routine. I could be totally off base with that, but I feel like when you and I are having conversations, prospecting is definitely a part of what you are doing actively to grow your business. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Over the last year, I feel like with the help of many advisors, including yourself, I've thought more strategically about how I need to be spending my time, especially when COVID hit and both of our kids were home at the same time, and I was still running a business. I needed to be very strategic with how I was spending my time.
Mm-hmm.
And prospecting is one of those activities that has a return on investment, and I needed to make sure that the very limited time that I did have, I was using it appropriately, and I was getting results.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about these results. What are some of the things that you have implemented or changed, like how you were doing prospecting before, and what are you doing now? And what are some of the results that you're receiving?
So it's hard for me to just focus on prospecting, because I feel like over the last year that we worked together, Nikki, you just helped me so much. It's just amazing. So in terms of transformation, so with your help, Nikki, last year, when we started to work together, and just for the listeners, so I'm a member of your society. I got a copy of your book. We've held many strategy sessions, 15-minute spotlights, all the things, right? And right at the end of this year, we're at a point where last year, before we started work together, it was very close to me going back to looking for a job because I felt like I didn't have a good engine to keep the company stable and growing. And this year we're now going to be officially a multi-six-figure business. And I wouldn't be able to say that without your help. So that's the transformation that I've had, that the business has had with your help. And it has been with the combination of all these resources, being a member of the society, your book, and one-on-one help. Now, so I can definitely speak to prospecting and how it was before and how I'm doing it now. But I think that that's just a very small picture of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
If I can focus more on just the overall areas that you've allowed me to grow, I think that together, that's what has allowed us to have the transformation that we've seen, and we feel so blessed to be in this position.
Okay, well, tell us then a lot about some of these things. What are some of the things that you're doing this year, specifically around the selling, that you weren't doing last year as a result of the things that you and I have worked on? And we have done, I actually don't know how many strategy sessions we've done. And we do spotlight coaching sessions. So just to differentiate for the listener, a strategy session with me is a 50-minute strategy session. A spotlight coaching session with me is a 15-minute session. And you are one of those people where you're like, I need a spotlight coaching session, Nikki. And then we do a 15-minute, and then you're off and running, I feel like. But just to differentiate. But so say, what are some of these things that are different now this year?
Sure. So there's so many. I would say the key ones are probably 5. So when I'm in a conversation with a prospect or even with a client, so I think the biggest help initially was having a framework to follow. Mm-hmm. So I very regularly write down what the selling staircase steps are.
Yeah.
And by seeing it before I get on a call, either with a client or a prospect, so that I know to detect, or this is where we're at, and this is the next step that we're trying to move towards. That right there has been a game changer for me, because before I didn't have a structure that I could use to help me understand, all right, are we early in the sales process, in the sales cycle, or are we close to a close? Mm-hmm. I just didn't understand that. So just having clarity on, hey, just because I have my eye on a company and I think they can benefit from my service, that doesn't mean that we're on the selling staircase. And I used to think that.
Yeah. So I love that you just said that. So I just want to comment on that, is that oftentimes one of the mistakes that we make is we think, oh, well, I've identified this company as somebody who potentially, I know I could help them, but they don't know who you are and they've had no interaction with you. And I really don't consider that a prospect. They become a prospect when they're aware of me, and now there's an opportunity to actually have a discussion, and then they're on the staircase, right? Now we're moving them through the process. Prior to just I had a client who showed up one time and she was like, here's my list of 300 prospects. And I was like, yeah, but how many of those people even know who you are? And she was like, 20. Okay, let's focus on closing these 20 and then we'll start to move on to, these other people. So anyway, okay, so keep going. What are some of the other things? I think you said there were 5, so I don't want to jump in there too much.
Yes. And the other big bucket, I would say, falls on communication. So I like how through the society, we have access to you, where if an email is about to go out and I just need some help with just getting the right language, whether it be the tone or the keywords that I'm using, just having a better idea of how I should be structuring my email communications so that it resonates, it lands softly, And I think before it was just me using lots of I statements, trying to convey a message of what was important to me, when in reality, it needs to be all about the client, all about the prospect. And if and when I can be a resource and being able to know where in the selling staircase they're at and just focus on moving to the next step as opposed to trying to close a sale on the first call when they may not even know me, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Well, I can say, because you are one of the people who utilize that as a service in the Sales Maven Society, where you'll post a message to me or tag me in a, in a message that you've created and ask for some, constructive feedback or, how does this sound? And I feel like a year ago, I had a lot more to offer, like let's get some of these I statements out of here. Let's tweak this a little bit. And here's a different way to phrase this. And now I think when you are tagging me, I'm like, looks good. It's awesome. Send it. Right. Like I just have seen this big transition and transformation for you as well. And just in the way that you write your messages now are so much more customer focused and client focused, and the person, to the reader. I feel like you write now to the reader. So I'm so proud of you for like being able to now just implement that. Like, no problem. You've got it. It's yours.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. And going along with communication, I think the other big area that has been an improvement is transitioning either topics or depending on whatever the conversation may be, just coming up with the right language and the right tone to be able to lead the conversation and having it feel naturally and not something that I'm stumbling on because I don't know what words to use or how to say it or where to inflect or if I curl up or I curl down. One of my favorite things to do is, so before I get on the client call, before I get on the prospect call, I love to just jump on the society and whatever I need help with, just knowing that with a couple of clicks, I can get some like on the spot mentorship from you. Like I see you, I hear you, you have these like techniques that goes a long way. And me being able to have those resources so that I feel good and confident to be able to lead whatever that sales conversation is has been a game changer. I didn't have a resource like that before. Like it was all in my head, and having someone smart and talented and knowledgeable like you guiding me right before a sales call, that's awesome.
I love that you're utilizing those resources before your sales calls and like boosting that confidence for you, because sometimes not knowing what to say, we start to get in our head and it starts to like, now I'm going to stumble over my words, or I'm not going to say it because it feels like it's not going to come out right. And again, this is a place where I've really seen a big confidence growth from you of now just like, I've got this conversation. But I love that you're still going back to the resources and, going through a quick video or going through a quick training that's in there that's going to be like, oh yeah, like I've totally got this and I know what to say now. Because knowing what to say and how to say it, I mean, this 100% of everything I teach is knowing what to say and how to say it. It really does make the conversation so much more smooth and easy. Would you agree with that? Like, I always think it's about making the conversation easy for you and more importantly, for the person you're in conversation with.
Absolutely. And so I think all these things that I just described has been what has allowed me to be more confident with prospecting in general. So I think the focus of this episode is around prospecting and how I'm more comfortable with it and how I feel more confident in doing that and doing that in a systematic way and confidently. And there were, looking back a couple of weeks ago, there was a single week where I was able to get 3 calls on the calendar. And so one was was with an ideal client that I've had my eyes on. So I've had my eyes on that company, and it was through a past colleague that I've worked with who's now working there. I was able to connect with the right person. And it was me like taking in all the learnings around like how to engage with people and having it come across naturally and authentic, like me authentically wanting to help. I feel like that's what allowed me to land this sales call and having it go smooth and me not being attached to the outcome. It's just me sharing a little bit about who we are, what we do. For this particular example, we provided a free assessment for the organization, and just that conversation was so smooth. And it's because of all the learnings behind email structure and what to say and how to say it and leveraging the network. So it hasn't been like just one thing. It's been a culmination of working with you for the last year.
Well, I think there was a lot in there of what you just said of, right? Like your email structure is super important because that's what's going to open that door initially. This idea of like, how do you structure the conversation? How do you talk about who you are and what you guys do in a really confident way that is going to lead them to, be interested? And then you said also of like using your network, right? Like I teach this of like, how do you use your network to open doors? Because again, prospecting is not, for most of us, it's not the thing that we really are like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to, do all these prospecting calls today. But when you can learn how to what I call warm up your prospects, the conversations become so much easier. So I love that you have done a great job around this too, because I know from our spotlight coaching sessions of utilizing your network, asking for introductions in a way that feels really good to you and lands really softly to the person that you're asking. So they are willing to open these doors and make these introductions for you, which has been phenomenal. And that week where you were like, I just got 3 prospecting calls booked of like people who you really had no relationship with, right? Like this was like, cold, and still utilizing all of these skills to like book these 3 potential, clients was super exciting.
No, it was definitely super exciting. And I remember before, like I would spend half a day preparing for a conversation for a sales call, trying to just scour through the website, try to get as much information as I could about the company and whoever I was working or whoever I was going to be chatting with. And 1 year later, where I'm focusing more on listening and trying to understand what pain points are and what areas they need help with, articulating how we can be of service and not being attached to the outcome, like that has been huge. And I now feel confident. I never thought I'd be able to say that, but I now feel confident being able to prospect and being strategic with leveraging my network, asking for referrals, and doing it from the place of being of service to someone else. Whenever there's a good fit, knowing that we're definitely going to be able to help the client.
Yeah, I love that. Oh man, this makes me so happy. I'm so glad that you came on to share about the success that you're having and, the transition. Although it feels to me like we've worked together for a really long time, but it really has been a year. Like in a year, the growth of not just your business growth, but just your confidence around selling, it's been really fun to witness and to be a little part of your journey as you continue to grow this incredible business and make an incredible impact in the world because of what you guys are doing. So Is there anything I haven't asked you that you wanted to make sure that you shared about some of your successes or anything in particular? I feel like I kind of changed up some of the questions that I said I was going to ask you based on what we've talked about so far.
No, it's just been, it's been an awesome year. It might be a year and a half that we've been working together. Nikki, you had such a tremendous impact on the business. You have not played a little role. It has been a significant role. And I just want to say thank you so much for that and for being awesome. We wouldn't be where we're at without your help. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And it has really been an honor to be a part of your journey. I mean that sincerely. I adore you. I'm so excited about your progress. I'm so excited about the business growth that you've had. And I'm really grateful that you said yes to coming on to sharing your success stories, because I think my hope is in sharing this story that if somebody is listening to this and feeling like, that's me, I'm spending a half day preparing for a call, or, that's me, I'm not sure what to say in these situations, or any of that, that that there is freedom from those feelings and that there's confidence around the corner by investing in yourself, by investing in your own learning. And it's going to make this huge impact in your business. You had shared very candidly, I think, to say that, a year ago, you were thinking like, do I need to give this up and go, work for somebody, or can I really make this a business? And then look where you guys are this year. Like, it's been so exciting to see your business grow in this way. So thank you for saying yes to coming on the show. And I always want to know, because my guess is there might be somebody listening who would really benefit from your services. So how can people connect with you? How can they get in touch with you? And even if you just want to get in touch with Rocio, because she's an amazing human, how can people find out more about you?
Sure. So there's two good ways to learn more about the company. You can visit CyberSecurityBase.com. And if you're looking to connect with me, I'm active on LinkedIn. I would love to connect. So just reach out, send an invitation, and we can get a conversation going.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you again for saying yes and for coming on the show, for being my client. It is such an honor to serve you and, again, to witness your success. All right. So as we wrap up the show, I hope that you heard something there as a listener that sparked something for you that made you go like, oh, I can call that person, or, oh, I can ask my network to make an introduction, or whatever is going through your mind right now. But go take some action, as Natalie Echtel always says, go take some action, put something into place so that you can see results in your own business, because look what a year can make, or look what a year can do for somebody in their business. Now, for those of you who are listening, if you're interested in joining the Sales Maven Society, if you have not joined yet, our group, the membership group, please consider it. Here is a special invitation for you. And again, this is a monthly membership. You get access to the training. Like Rocio said, you can go watch a little, short little snippet video training, or hear some, feedback, or read one of the resources that's in there for you when you need it. You can bring your questions and concerns. You get access to me. I provide answers and guidance to boost your confidence in your sales situations. And to join the Sales Maven Society, you're just going to go to salesmavensociety.com. So www.salesmavensociety.com. And if you enter this coupon code, it's at the bottom of the page where you can enter the coupon code 27TRIAL. So 27 TRIAL. It will take $70 off your first month of membership, and you can join for $27. We'd love to have you. You'll see Rocio in there. You'll see her posting her questions and her, I'm just about to send this email out to a new prospect. You'll see her in there, and you'll see me, and I would love to have you. So thanks again, Rocio, for being here, and have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.